So hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us for this special live session. I'm Itzik Amiel, and we are here with a weekly Switch interview series, Switch It On, where we talk to smart and talented experts and people about how you could switch on your practice and maybe even your life. And you're invited to join us. I see a lot of you are joining us now, and please feel free to type in the chat box your name, where you're from, where you're dialing from, so we all know you're here with us in the room because today we're going to talk about a very interesting subject. And the subject we call it today, discovering your professional persona. Now, again, before I'm going to ask everything else, type your name in the chat box so we know you are here with us. I see you joining, so I'm happy. We're just starting, so don't go away. It will be an awesome program, I promise you, because today I have the honor to have this live session with a friend and the assistant dean of Fordham Law School. Today, my special guest is Toni Jaeger Fine. And I hope a lot of you know Toni, or those who do not know, will have here for a very, very special treat. But before I invite Toni to join us, let me give you behind the back, as I always like to do, some highlights about Toni. So Professor Toni Jaeger Fine is Assistant Dean, as I said, of International and non-J.D. programs of Fordham Law School. But she's also Principal of Jaeger Fine Consulting. She has taught or lectured domestically in USA and over 22 countries worldwide, and she author of numerous articles on a wide range of topics published in the United States and abroad in many magazines and publications, as well as several books, including the one we're going to talk about today, Becoming a Lawyer, Discovering and Defining Your Professional Persona. Toni is a regular speaker to delegation hosted by the U.S. Department of State, senior counselor to the international section of the Federal Bar Association, and application reader for the Schwarzman Scholars Program. Previously, Toni served as Associate Director of the Global Law Program of the NYU School of Law, and she is twice Fulbright Senior Specialist Program Grant recipient. And she is a past chair of the section of Postgraduate Legal Education, International Legal Exchange, and Legal Education for Foreign Lawyers of the Association of American Law Schools. Toni was associated with the law firm of Cromwell Mourning in Washington, D.C., but she practiced focus on commercial, appellate, and administrative litigation. And she's cum laude graduate from Duke Law School and received a BA from Harper College when she was elected to a Pi Beta Kappa. And I know I can say more and more about Toni, and I don't want to just talk about it. Hello, Toni. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Hi, Itzik. Great to see you. That was such a lovely introduction, and I've never been on your program before, so I got to see all your setup. It's amazing. The video made me smile.
Thank you for that. And I mean, I know I shortened it because you can talk about that for the year to give value to our people who are joining us. Again, those who are joining us, please put your name in the chat. It's Connie will see you. That we want you to see that you are in the room. I see Rajesh and Avid and David and Ali and Alexander. See, a lot of you are joining us. So please put your name in the chat so we know who you are, where you're dialing from. So it's great to have you here, Toni. And thanks for joining us. Thanks for your time, because I know you're very, very busy. A lot of graduation ceremonies, and I know a lot of things involved. And you always find the time, because I know you always share your amazing value. And I want people to see in this short time how much more you can give. So let me start setting the stage, if you want, for this conversation, because I believe that success is not about degrees or technical skills. And I think it's easy for us, you and me, to say about it, because, we both finish cum laude, and nobody ever asks us about it. Nobody chooses because of that. There's nothing to do with law at all, maybe, Successful professional, if you want to say, and probably we'll discover today, masters concept like and behavior not taught in law schools or not taught in any practice. Developing a strong professional persona is maybe perhaps more crucial today than ever in the period of profound disruption of our legal industry. And recent changes in the profession, including intense competition for top jobs, make it even more important than ever that we develop a robust professional persona. But at the same time, the rise of alternative service provider and the profession of entrepreneurship in the legal profession really allow each one of us more options the legal professional previously had. So our professional persona must be protected and maybe as a valuable asset that it is. And in a world which may feel that much is out of our control, I think the development of robust professional persona, as you're going to hear today, is well within our power. So you have to think today how you take charge of how you develop yours. Now, I know what a lot of you are asking now when you're listening to me. It says, okay, great, Itzik, but how do I define, how do I discover my professional persona? What is the mindset? What is the action that helps to build a powerful professional persona that really can accelerate the growth of your practice and career? I hear you. I hear you. That's exactly the reason we have this special session with Toni. We want to help you to see the profession in what is required to succeed in a brand new light. So, now, Toni, the way I start all the session, I want to do it also today. I know it's a surprise for you, but I love to do what I call 10 in 1. When I ask you 10 very short questions in 1 minute, and I just wanted you to give me a very short answer to them. And that's what allows us to go to a lot of material we cannot cover a lot of time, but allow people to see where is your thoughts, where are you thinking come before we dive in more to the meat and potatoes. Okay, so are you okay with that?
I'll do my best. I'm not as quick as I used to be when I was younger, but I'll do my best.
Awesome. The audience listening to us, please, if you want to put also your answer in the chat, be our guest, and do that, participate when I'm asking Toni the question. You may also go and answer yours. Okay, so if you're ready, Toni, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. So here's the first one. Is a professional persona is something you have, something you build, or you haven't built?
Something you build, and then you have it and continue to build it.
Okay. Wow, that's complicated. I'm sure later on we're going to hear more about that. Number 2, having a professional persona is a must-have, good to have, or I cannot decide?
Must have, absolutely essential, Itzik.
Great. Very pure answer. Number 3, what is more valuable to a professional career? Better technical skills, better attitude and behavior, or depends?
Better attitudes and behaviors. Absolutely.
Great. So very clear. I know you know your stuff. Number 4, can a professional persona be recreated? For sure. Not always. Oh, you definitely lost your mind.
For sure. You may have lost your mind, Itzik. I know I have, but for sure you can create and recreate yourself throughout the course of your career.
I hope that all of you there are listening carefully. You can definitely recreate. You heard Toni saying that it's never too late. Number 5, the professional persona is contextual and is changed over time. Absolutely. I need to think about it only in special cases.
Absolutely.
Great. Number 6, a robust professional persona requires character. Hell yeah. No. Oh, sometimes.
Hell yeah. I wanted to say hell on this podcast, so you gave me the chance. Hell yeah.
Great. Number 7, well-being. We're going to talk about it later today, but well-being is a concept that includes physical wellness, emotional health, mental health, or all the 3?
All of the above. Everything's got to be in balance, Itzik.
Great. And I think a lot of people make mistake over here. I'm going to hear later on to you talking about it. Number 8, a bit longer question. What is the first and the most fundamental principle of the public professional persona? They need to be a leader, or maybe to follow ethical and organizational policies, or maybe to be communicate with excellence?
This is the hardest one. I would say the first thing you need to take care of is make sure that you follow ethical guidelines, organizational policies, and then all the others come into play.
I know you're going to say that because it's such a tricky question. You got me there. Number 9, are social media and other online tools important for building a public professional persona? For sure? You're not sure? Oh, keep dreaming.
Itzik, you should always keep dreaming, but absolutely for sure, now more than ever.
Great. And I think you see those who are listening to us who are ignoring it, that's the time to wake up over there. And number 10, the last one, Toni, developing a strong professional persona is perhaps more crucial than ever in the period of profound disruption in the legal industry? Not really? Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. This is the time. These disruptive times absolutely call for a strong professional persona.
Great. Was it so bad? It was went so fast, man. Listen,
it wasn't so bad. I was very nervous, but it wasn't so bad. It was fun.
I told you, you know your stuff. And I
think most of the answers.
And everybody got clear more about the things we're going to talk about today. So if that was awesome, that's very insightful. And I think it brings us to the next part. Again, those who are listening to us, welcome. I'm here with Toni Jaeger Fine. We're talking about discovering your professional persona, and you're very welcome to stay with us. Very short, but you learn a lot, I promise you. And if you have any question during the session, please put it in the chat box, because I would love to ask your question to Toni, not necessarily what we prepare in advance. So if you have a question, put it in the chat, and I'll ask it to Toni. And if you're here and joining us, put your name and where you're from, so you see it joining us. And don't be shy over there. Just share it. That's your time. So awesome. So let's continue, Toni, with our discussion. And the first things I want to know from you is your book called Becoming a Lawyer, as I mentioned before, Discovering and Defining Your Professional Persona. But do us a favor, what is the professional persona is all about? You're on mute, Toni.
Rookie mistake. That is such an important question, because I don't know that I coined the term, but I have something very particular in mind when I talk about the professional persona. And you alluded to it earlier. It's a set of attitudes and behaviors that come to define us as professionals. And you're right, Itzik. I think many of us, and I absolutely lived most of my life this way, I focused on technical skills. I focused on substantive knowledge. I focused on getting that degree. And I really didn't think about the skills and attitudes that I needed to embrace as a professional. And that's what my work is about.
And I agree. And I think what you say is so right, because all of us starting this technical skill because we study for it and we learn. And I think, if we're going to start with the other skills before, we won't feel comfortable. It will not be, the ground will not be based on good ground. But if you have the skills, then everything else, is getting more important. But if you don't have technical skills, it would look like cheesy. It would look like fluffy. It would look like, what can you do with it, But I agree. And I think the older we get, we're also noticing what's really important, right? There's also part of life.
So that is absolutely true. I would never have come up with this idea 30, 40 years ago. I needed to mature a bit and to observe a bit to see what makes people succeed or what the differentiator is. And we all have technical skills. We all have substantive knowledge. You can always develop that. But the real secret sauce is these attitudes and behaviors.
Absolutely. And I think, again, I see people joining us and nobody's put their name. You're embarrassing me. You should be there and you should put your name, because I want Toni to see that you are with us. And if you have a question, also put it in the chat box, because that's your opportunity to ask your question with Toni. So again, I will continue till you're answering, but you're invited to learn more today about discovering your professional persona. So Toni, let me ask you the most important question I think it is here, that maybe a lot of our viewers asking themselves as well. Okay, we understood what is professional persona from you. But why is professional persona is so important, and how can someone go, I think that's what everybody asking, to creating a strong and sustainable professional persona?
This is really an important question. It's because people are probably wondering, why should I go to the trouble? I already have the skills. I have the knowledge. Do I really need this extra secret sauce, as Toni called it? And the answer is yes. Why? Because there are hundreds of millions of people who have basic technical skills, who have basic substantive knowledge. But not everybody develops these skills and attitudes with the same amount of dedication and the same amount of intentionality. This is going to make you a better employee, a better sort of junior on your team. It's going to make you a better supervisor when you get to the point of supervision. It's going to make you more attractive to clients. It's going to make you be in a position to develop business, and it's going to make you happier. So I think it's, for all those reasons, really, really important to get that edge.
I'm listening to you and in my brain thinking, how could we not come with it so many years ago? If that's such a simple solution to so many things we're all looking for, how can we waited so long? But you know what? It's never too late, right, Toni?
Never too late. Even at my age, it's like...
So I see people joining us. Again, if you have questions for Toni, please put it in the chat. And I'm here with Toni Jaeger Fine, speaking about discovering your professional persona. And before you're going to ask your question, I have another question for you, Toni. But before that, I think if people are interested to learn more about you and your work and a lot of things that you're covering on, I would suggest that you can go to Toni's website, which is yourprofessionalpersona.com, where you can find a lot of interesting blogs about the book, a lot of all the stuff that Toni is doing and will do. And I think that's the best place. And of course, you can find it at Fordham University. I suggest you see there to find the work. And of course, if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of our weekly Switch On interview series, follow me on LinkedIn or go to our Switch Up website. You can sign up get my business development strategies and tips, and you can add your email to the list where you can get a reminder about the fantastic guests and speakers that we have, like today with Toni. But that in mind, let's continue, Toni, because I'm waiting for your question. And let's continue about the fascinating topic of discovering your professional persona. And when we're talking about the subject, one of the elements of the professional persona you speak about many times is the mindset and dispositions. So what kind of mindset and disposition contribute to a robust professional persona?
Itzik, this is a subject that's really near and dear to my heart, because I think when I've been working on this book, thinking about these issues, that's the section of the book that really, I think, I benefited from the most, from learning about it, writing about it, reading about it. The first part of a mindset, I think, is about having a positive mindset. And the first element I think of when I think of a positive mindset is a growth-based mindset. And I want to distinguish that it's from a fixed-based mindset. A fixed-based mindset is someone who says, I can't do that, and gives up. The minute you decide you can't do something, you will not be able to do it. But if you approach a task with, I might find that challenging, that's difficult, that's something I haven't done before, but I can do it because I've done other things before, then you have developed a growth-based mindset, and then you will succeed. I also think it is about optimism, and not just is the glass half full or is the glass half empty, but sort of explanatory optimism. How do you see the challenges, the failures, the defeats you faced in the past? Because how you view the past will inform your future. It's about curiosity. It's about being creative. It's about grit and resilience. One of the things I always advocate with respect to resilience is putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. If you put yourself in uncomfortable situations, you'll realize you could do it. You could get out of it, which is why at the age of 57, I joined a CrossFit gym. I don't know if you know that, Itzik, but I'm 100 pounds. I was 57 years old, and I walked into a CrossFit gym 4 or 5 times a week. And every day I walked out, and by the way, I was terrible, but every day I walked out knowing whatever came my way that day, I would be able to do it.
Great. And I think it's exact. It's the thing. I myself also can admit, took it for granted mindset. I was a positive person, but when you really learn how do you think and how to strengthen it, you can always upgrade your mindset. I think even the growth mindset you spoke about, there's even another level there, which I used to call the mix of entrepreneurial mindset with a growth mindset. So it's even another level that we as lawyers have to be, because we admit we are business like every other business. So, and mindset is something that 100% in our control. And that's a fact. You don't have to buy any skills. You don't have to pay nobody nothing. It's between you and you.
It's between you and you. And by the way, that's one of the things that I love about the concept of the professional persona more broadly. It's about you. It's between you and you. It's between me and me. And you can't blame anyone. It gives you a tremendous amount of control and autonomy. And so, as you mentioned earlier, there are so many things over which we don't have control. Your mindset, your professional persona, that's between you and you. And I love the way you said that. No one can take that away from you. You are in charge. And that to me is so empowering.
And there's another thing make me think what you just said is what I think one of the difficult things for me was to define authenticity. But that's exactly the connection you make. Because if you take care of you, you become more authentic you, and then you can serve others. And a lot of us, it's like me, teaching people how to go to the gym. That's crazy. If I'm gaining weight and I'm not going to the gym, how can I teach? I'm lying to myself first, right? So the mindset should be so strong, because when you have such a mind strong, you're going to get amazing client. You're going to grow because everybody wants that.
Yeah.
But if you come with a fluffy mindset, how much can you fake it? One day your clients, other people will see you don't know yourself. You don't have the confidence they're looking for. You're not entrepreneurial per se. How can you teach them where to go? How can you help them, right?
Yeah, I love that. And I love your point about authenticity. And I have to say that I used to think authenticity was kind of soft and BS. And I think it's because I misunderstood authenticity. So I look at younger generations. We look at them and we say, oh, they've taken authenticity too far. They want to wear shorts and a T-shirt to work. Well, you know what? I want to wear shorts and a T-shirt to work too. But that's not the world we live in when we're legal professionals. But authenticity is really, really important. It means that you can be you. Why is that important? Because if you're spending a lot of time and energy covering something up or not being you or trying to be, if I try to be Itzik or Itzik tries to be me, it's energy and time that we're not serving clients or serving our supervisors or doing what we're really supposed to be doing. And so being in an environment where you can be you and you can be comfortable and you don't have to hide things and you don't have to pretend, you put all your energies into doing great work and being a great professional.
Awesome. And I think what you're teaching is exactly, it's part of the professional persona. It's not something fluffy you do. It's part of your success. It's not anymore something you think about, as you said before. You have to have it. If not, be prepared to fail.
It also really contributes to happiness. And I think that happiness or flourishing maybe has to be part of your professional persona, right? I think when people talk about a work-life balance, they miss the point. It's all life, right? And it's not really about balance. It's about flourishing in what you do. And if you're authentic and you feel good in what you're doing, you will flourish and you won't mind the hours spent. I mean, we all spend too much time at work, but if you flourish and thrive and enjoy it, it won't feel like a burden.
I love it again. I mean, because it's all reminding the course that I took, because I always was smiling. People said, how do you feel like you're more feeling yourself? I said, you know what? My smile is probably wider. I'm smiling more time per minute because I measured. I really checked it out. I took a centimeters and I checked how big is my smile. Every time I was smiling, I put the dot on my desk, and I see, holy Lee, I smile more in a minute than before. And I know internally there was feelings that I feel genuinely happy, as you said. So it's absolutely, I said, you and you, but you're the only one who knows if you're there or not. And if not, go work on yourself.
Let me just say, Itzik, and I know this is a little bit off point, but there's science about smiling. There is science to suggest that the more you smile, the happier you will be. And part of it is smiling is a nice emotion. And when I smile, I just feel good. When I'm not smiling, I feel a little negative. But also there's a feedback loop in the brain, apparently. I'm not a scientist, but the mind says, oh, I'm smiling, I must be happy. And so you can actually create a happy feeling by just forcing yourself to smile. And then you get a feedback loop through the brain that says, well, if I'm smiling, I must be happy.
Exactly. And I think, Dan Goodman, I think, did the research, and I think he found out that a smile is worth like 2,000 bars of chocolate. So, I thought that's what you were referring to.
Yeah, but it's like, I'm not giving up chocolate just yet, no matter how often I smile.
And I don't think if I eat 2,000 bars of chocolate, I'll be happy anyway. But going back to another point you mentioned before when I asked you, and it's connected us to the next question, is the importance of the well-being and the connection to the professional persona. Because it's known that by now that well-being is a concern throughout the profession. Everybody talking about it in the last 2 years, a lot of events and seminars about it. So what are, according to you, Toni, what are some of the things we as legal professionals can do to flourish?
Yeah. So Itzik, I want to answer that in two different parts. And first of all, I want to say that you're absolutely right. This is a problem that is really a proportion that we've never seen before, the kind of concern that we have about well-being. And lawyers and others in the legal profession are really, really struggling. So the first part of what I want to say is sort of stuff that maybe you've heard before. You want to eat well, you want to nourish, you want to hydrate, you always want to have a bottle of water. You want to exercise, you want to sleep well. All of these things are really important. You want to ensure that you have love in your life. It doesn't have to be romantic love. Romantic love is great, of course, but it can also be a strong network of friends or family members that you feel really connected to. And all that is sort of basic. And you need to really have all that in balance, as I answered in response to one of Itzik's 6 and 10 or 10 and 60 or whatever it was questions at the beginning. But there's another point to well-being that I want to make. And that is that, again, a lot of this is in your control. And there's a mindset approach. Smile more. Okay, I'm thinking of Hamilton. Smile more, talk less, smile more. But I want to leave you with one point that I read someone. I have to find the source of it because it was not mine, but I'm using it all the time now. Every minute of every day is a choice that you make, that I make, that everyone in the world makes. No one is forcing you to do anything. And what you want to make sure is that those choices that you make reveal your life's priorities. I'm here right now because I love Itzik and I love this opportunity to talk about my work. And when I'm doing other work this afternoon that is less fun for me, I have to realize that that is a choice I make because this is part of the package that I get with my current situation. If I'm not happy, it's within my power to change that. There are other things like avoiding busyness, trying to fight the perfectionism that many of us have, trying to fight the imposter syndrome, which is really rampant among those of us in the legal profession. But really focusing on your agency and your autonomy and your ability to make changes, to sort of seek the kind of life you want. It's you and you. Again, Itzik, I love that. I'm going to quote you in my next book.
I mean, it's the most difficult, as you know, to be you. I mean, for all of us. But, if I took what you just said, Toni, to the extreme, if you're thinking about not what the choice, but it's the last choice, because it's the last moment of your life. Tomorrow you're gone. Well, what you do now is what you want to do. If not, go change it. What are we waiting for?
That's exactly right. I mean, there's an old joke, at least in the U.S., that we use. No, it's not really a joke. It's a platitude. Nobody on their deathbed ever wished they worked more. And exactly. I think maybe some people do, but, on your deathbed, and it's macabre to think about, but did you do what you wanted to do? Did you live the life you wanted to live? And don't make that decision when you're on your deathbed. Make it now, when you can create the life that you want, and really, become your dream is another the tag of a street artist in New York. There's no reason you can't have the kind of life you want. It's all up to you. And we in the legal profession have so many privileges, so many advantages, financial security first among them, that we can actually do the things we want to do and create the life we want to live. And so for me, it's like I feel like I spent a lot of my life blaming circumstance, blaming other people, blaming the pressure that was put on me by my family and so on. It's between me and me, between me and me.
Exactly. When you be there, everybody will accept it. So, Toni, almost at the end of the conversation, I don't see anybody asking you. So I have a last question for you. And it's regarding a very important subject of we all dealing with it now, talent retention. The subject has become really a problem for law firms around the world. And I want to connect it to when we talk about discovering your professional persona, because, there's turnover in principle is very expensive and disruptive to a lot of the firms. So what can law firms who are listening to us, and leading of law firms who are listening to us now, do to better keep the talent they really have?
Yeah, that is a really important question, Itzik. As you noted, turnover is, at least in the US, and I think around the world, just at really proportions we haven't seen before. And it's very disruptive and very expensive. So I sort of, when I do consult with law firms and with individual lawyers, I encourage them, whether it's a law firm or an individual lawyer, to take what I call a stewardship approach to talent management, which is don't just sort of give assignments, but come up with a plan, again, as an individual or as a team or as a law firm, a broader law firm, a plan that is going to really consider talent at the center, talent hiring and onboarding. What do you do when talent leaves the firm to try to learn from that, but most to develop and retain talent? And you do that by being very, very intentional and really focusing on this stewardship mindset that involves everything from how are assignments given out, how do we give feedback, what kind of system evaluation, what kind of system of mentors do we have in the firm, what kind of compensation do we have in a way that's really going to engage associates and encourage them to stay. And this is everything from inviting a junior along to observe, even if it's not billable, to observe a meeting or a hearing or a negotiation, to really having a system in place to understand how the firm is doing. 360 feedback systems, feedback, by the way, that is constant and contemporaneous, not once a year, and really actionable. And I think, like most of the professional persona, it's like, I think it's not that hard. You just have, by which I mean individual supervisors and firms and practice groups, have to be a little bit more deliberate. It takes a little bit of time, but the value you will get in exchange will be really magnificent. And it's like, I have to say that law firms seem particularly bad about this. I had a conversation with someone at one of the large consulting firms that everyone in your audience would have heard of. And this woman is a director of talent development at one of those firms. And she said, she used to work at law firms, a great law firm, one of the top New York City based law firms. And she said, what law firms do is a tiny percentage of what consulting firms do. Consulting firms have really figured out the magic behind talent development, building talent, retaining talent, and engaging talent in a way that that it enables them to develop, to advance and become partners and stay at the firm. or at least thrive while they're there. Because we all know that some people do move on. It's something that we as law firms and lawyers, I think, do very, very poorly.
Absolutely. And I think just to connect with what you just said, the feedback, etc., to the mindset. I'll tell to those people listening to me now and those who are working for firm, many times firms don't give you the right feedback. They give you the positive, the negative feedback. When you do something positive, they don't know how to tap on your shoulder and say, hey, great job, well done, something like that. And you're expecting to get it, right? A lot of us. So here's what I did, I used to do, and I used to, not sharing it, but I'm daring share it next to Toni. When I used to work for a firm and I knew I did a great job, I'll go to the toilet, I close the door, I went to the mirror, I look at myself, I said, good job, man. And that's how I set my mindset to become more positive and not waiting to somebody to tell me that somebody who set my mindset. As Toni said, it's all up to you. And the moment you decide to do it, guess what? You will succeed.
I love that, Itzik, because sometimes it is up to you. Again, it's you and you. And if you're, looking for that external validation is really problematic because a lot of lawyers skip that part. And if you can say to yourself, Toni, Itzik, you did a good job, or you go outside, buy a little chocolate to celebrate, or smile to yourself because you know you did a good job. You really have to feel that and take a moment to appreciate that. Just stop for a moment and say, good job, really good job. And that's a really important part of the mindset, and a really important part, I think, of your well-being is to just embrace that when you know you've done good work.
Great. I want to summarize a few words because I see people don't ask the question. I was waiting for it. But whether you're a law student, a young lawyer, or more seasoned professional, you need to develop a strong and sustainable professional persona, as you heard today from Toni. Yes, you heard me right. There is no escape. You need to take the steps, and you heard part of it, how to do it. Of course, if you want to learn more, especially because of the recent change in the profession, including the intense competition we have for job opening, make it more important than ever that we develop a robust professional persona. And I want to summarize the great session with a quote I found from Seth Godin, who said, people do not buy goods and services. They buy relations, stories, and magic. And that's all thing you can create by reboosting your professional persona. Now, my friends, it's time to take action to implement what you learn from this very short session, but very impactful with a lot of content. I know Toni has so much to share. And I've been here with Toni Jaeger Fine. She's Assistant Dean of the International J.D. programs in Fordham Law School, and also a consultant of the Jaeger Fine Consulting. And she's the author of the book, Becoming a Lawyer, Discovering and Defining Your Professional Persona. I said before, if you want to learn more about Toni and what she's doing, the job, the book, everything in the website, yourprofessionalpersona.com, or you can connect with Toni on LinkedIn and any other way. I'm sure you'd love to talk to her. There was so much to share with you. And I'm sure we're going to hear more things from Toni in the very near future. And again, if you want anything else, let us know. We can connect with Toni. For now, I want to thank you, Toni, for being here with us for the fantastic and powerful and very fast, it went fast, I know, a session together. So thank you very, very much for that.
Thank you, Itzik, and thanks to all of you watching. It was such a joy and an honor to be with you, Itzik.
Great. Thank you very much. And remember, everybody, next Tuesday, 6 p.m. CET time, 12 p.m. Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific time, it's another session with another top expert. It's time to switch on your professional persona to grow your practice or in your career. Bye for now, everybody. We'll see you soon.